We rise today to honor two Arkansans who gave their lives in service to others recently. Arkansas Department of Corrections officer, Sergeant Joshua Caudell, was a member of the department's K-9 team who responded to a call to assist his fellow law enforcement officers with a disturbance call. During the course of searching for a suspect, Sergeant Caudell was shot and later died from his injuries. Born in Little Rock and raised in Redfield and Whitehall, Sergeant Caudell was a Whitehall High School graduate of class of 2011. Service was something that defined his life. In high school, he participated in the school's ROTC program. He then went on to serve in the Army National Guard and is a 10-year veteran of the Arkansas Department of Corrections with a variety of units. He also served his family with deep care and devotion. As a loving husband and father, Sergeant Caudell put his wife and children above all else. They shared a special bond and never left any doubt about how much they meant to each other. His friends described Sergeant Caudell as a kind, generous person who was a real-life hero. He loved to fish and grill, cheer on his daughter's softball team, ride horses with his fellow Department of Corrections field officers, and support the Arkansas Razorbacks. His sacrifice in the name of protecting the community and enforcing the rule of law will never be forgotten. We are so grateful for his example and willingness to do the tough and dangerous job of ensuring public safety. Sadly, the natural state lost another first responder in the last few days, West Memphis firefighter Jason Lang. Lang was traveling to another city for an EMT training class when he stopped to provide assistance to others involved in a traffic accident. He was struck by an 18-wheeler while rendering aid. Originally from Iowa, Jason Lang was an Eagle Scout and a volunteer firefighter who was just starting his adult life. We were fortunate that his path brought him to Arkansas, where he was eager to begin serving the West Memphis community. Lang was an enthusiastic and promising young man who on day one wanted to be an integral part of the important work that first responders do to help support those in need. He learned that example from his own family, with a father who served as a police officer for decades and a brother who's a volunteer firefighter. He may have only been with the West Memphis Fire Department for a few months, but his chief recalled viewing him as a future leader in the organization from the first time that they met. His heroic and selfless actions will be admired and appreciated for years to come. Those who perform such acts do so without regard for their own safety, which is the hallmark of public service. So today we remember both Sergeant Joshua Caudell and firefighter Jason Lang for what they gave to their respective communities, themselves, totally and unflinchingly. We regret that their actions were necessary, but will be forever grateful that these two men did not hesitate to put their own safety aside in the name of protecting and helping others. I join with Senator Cotton and so many others to share our gratitude and admiration for these heroes, as well as our sorrow that they paid the ultimate price in the line of duty. We pray for their loved ones and colleagues as they mourn these fallen guardians who served others to the very end.
Madam President.
The Senator from Arkansas.
Today I stand with a heavy heart alongside Senator Boozman to mourn the deaths of two great Arkansans, Arkansas Department of Corrections Sergeant Joshua Caudell and West Memphis firefighter Jason Lang. They both died as they lived, serving their fellow Arkansans. Like every state, Arkansas is suffering terribly from the crime wave that has crashed across the country in the past 2.5 years. Our men and women in law enforcement are on the front line of this crisis, fighting against the forces of disorder, ridding our streets of poisonous drugs, facing down evil itself. Sadly, too many in law enforcement have paid the ultimate price while protecting the innocent and fighting the guilty. Last Monday, another Arkansan lost his life as an officer in the line of duty. The other week, Pulaski County Sheriff's deputies were asked to check on a woman who hadn't shown up to work that day. Her friends were concerned about her well-being and wanted to make sure she was safe. When the deputies arrived at the woman's house, an armed assailant opened fire, forcing them to take cover and call backup. The shooter managed to escape, and deputies then called in canine officers to find the would-be cop killer. One of the officers assigned to this dangerous job was Sergeant Joshua Caudell. Sergeant Caudell helped track the shooter to a trailer not far away. Tragically, unknown to the officers, the shooter was lying in wait underneath the trailer. He once again opened fire on the police, this time hitting Sergeant Caudell and killing him. Sergeant Caudell was 29 years old. He had a wife and 3 children. My prayers and Senator Boozman's prayers reflect the prayers of all Arkansans going out to his family. We can only imagine their heartbreak and pain. The heinous criminal who committed this murder is now in custody. He will face justice, stern, swift, and fair. And he must face the sternest justice possible, because an attack on a law enforcement officer is also an attack on the rule of law, on order, on civilization itself. Sadly, the slaying of Sergeant Caudell was not the only tragedy that befell our state in the last 2 weeks. On Saturday, February 26th, 20-year-old West Memphis firefighter Jason Lang was on his way to an EMT class when he saw that a stranger had gotten into a car accident. Exactly as you would expect from such a fine public servant, he pulled over and he tried to help the crash victim. As he was selflessly helping the stranger, Jason was tragically struck by an 18-wheeler and killed. Jason's death is a heartbreaking loss for our state. When Jason saw a fellow Arkansan in distress, he ran towards the danger. Every young boy and girl should aspire to serve their community with the same sense of bravery. Today, all of Arkansas weeps, red and blue. My heart and Senator Boozman's heart goes out to all Arkansas firefighters and police officers who do so much for our state each and every day. President Reagan said in his first inaugural address, "Those who say that we're in a time without heroes just don't know where to look." Jason Lang and Joshua Caudell were indeed heroes, and we can look to them and we can honor their legacy. God bless them, God bless their families, and God bless the state of Arkansas.